So, City Clerk Kathy Swanson will do roll call for us.
Mayor McGowan,
Here.
Tom Hastings is absent. John Blondo,
Here.
Ron Spears is absent. Stephen Harper,
Present.
Nikki Holtz,
Present.
Beth Williams. Here. Ken Ratliff.
Here.
So we do have something that Ron is still ill, and we did get an email from Tom to has to be excused tonight. So is there a motion to excuse the two council?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to excuse the absent council. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So we'll go down to the approval of the meeting agenda. Any questions there? None? We have a motion.
I move that we approve the meeting agenda. I'll yield. John.
Okay, but then you'll second
I'll
it?
second.
Okay. Moved and seconded to approve the meeting agenda as presented. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Well, under announcements of appointments and all that, I am going to read a letter, so you have to bear with me because it has to do with our water treatment plant. But when you get a letter from Ecology that's patting you on the back, it's worth noting. So this is from Heather Bartlett, Water Quality Program Manager from the Department of Ecology. It's addressed to me, but the city. So it says, congratulations, the Upper Kittitas County Regional Wastewater Treatment Facility is receiving a 2018 Wastewater Treatment Plant Outstanding Performance Award. Of approximately 300 wastewater treatment plants statewide, yours is one of 109 that achieved full compliance with its National Pollution Discharge Elimination System permit for 2018. My staff evaluated wastewater treatment plants in Washington for compliance with the effluent limits, monitoring and reporting requirements, spill prevention planning, pre-treatment, and overall operational demands for the NPDES permit. This is the 11th consecutive year the Upper Kittitas County Regional Water Treatment Facility received this award. Your excellent record is a credit to the dedicated operators who are responsible for running this award-winning plant. He's sitting in the corner over there. It takes diligent operators and strong management team working effectively together to achieve this high level of compliance. It is not easy to operate a wastewater treatment plant 24 hours a day, 365 days a year without violations. Ecology appreciates the extraordinary level of effort for your plant operators demonstrated through 2018. Talented and proficient operators are critical to successful plant operations and protecting the health of Washington waters. We will announce the 2018 award recipients, including the Upper Kittitas County Regional Wastewater Treatment Facility in coming weeks. And I thought I'd just jump the gun and tell everybody that we got it anyways. So thank you, William, for that. It's a big job. And really, one of the whole reasons that we have the plant that we do is that it is the only discharge permit on the upper Yakima River. Because Cicadia, Ronald, Roslyn, South Elum come out of one place. So actually, we make their job easy because it comes, and that's it between here and Ellensburg. So it's pretty, important to the state for that. So let's see, where's my agenda? I buried it already. We'll go down to the consent agenda.
Can I make a comment on that?
Sure.
So I'll be abstaining from the vote on the consent agenda only because I haven't been able to obtain a recording, so I wouldn't be able to verify the meeting minutes, but I don't stand in contention of its passing.
Oh, okay, okay. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
Sure, I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Who's the second to accept the consent agenda? All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Noting the extent of from Councilman Harper. So we'll go down to officer reports and we'll see what our city administrator, Rob Ullman, has. And then, just so you know, the guy sitting next to him is Roy Lewis, right?
Right.
And he's our, from HLA representative tonight. He's our dad tonight.
I'm sitting in for Ben.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll hear from him later, but
We'll hear from him later.
thank you, Honorable Mayor, City Council. So not a whole lot to report. I'll give you my building permit update for June. So at the end of June, I issued 6 permits for a total this year of 38. But it did bring in nearly $55,000. So at this time last year, we had 43 permits, but it only had brought in $45,000. I've also did 40 inspections last month, whereas last year at this time, I only did 25. So again, the progression of just being busier. Also, moving along to construction, we had a pre-con meeting last week on the Pine Street sidewalk improvement, and that's on schedule. The contractors are in place, and they'll start on the 15th. And it's a short construction. They're supposed to complete by August 9th. So if you're up in that area, stay clear. I don't know. And then we did have a bid opening about the SR 903 utility extensions. We'll hear more about that, but we had a large turnout and a good bid opening on that. I'm really happy to see that. Also, if you notice, our planner is not here. We let her have the time off here, so, but she did want me to say a few things. As you know, last time we did the big GMA update ordinance, and she's got that all in, and you know, the state is reviewing it right now. But other than that, the planning department has had several large planning projects. There's 2 subdivisions, the Horse Park Covered Arena, and the T-Mobile Tower that are in review right now. A little bit an update on the cemetery expansion. If you remember, the cemetery wanted to expand into an area where the VFW has a spot. If you remember, there was it's over 100-year-old cemetery, so there is some potential, you know, for remains to be scattered around, and so Lucy, our planner, is working with Yakima Nation and Central to try to come together. They're gonna go on site, kind of review it, see what Central has like an X-ray machine that they can go around.
Ground penetrating
Radar.
radar. Yeah.
Ground penetrating radar. It wasn't on here, but I just added the X-ray thing. And so Lucy's trying to coordinate all that, and so we're still trying to get the cemetery expanded there. That's all she had.
So I might say that, you know, that caused a little consternation. But I said, if you went in there and started logging and you're pulling out trees and bones came up, everything was stopped. And it's been just as well. Those trees, there is some 100-year-old trees, but most of them are 70 years old, you know, and so could easily be, you know, someone buried there.
Yeah. And again, as chair of the cemetery committee, the purpose of the cemetery is not simply to have a location for the disposal of bodies. It's for the respectful interring of remains of our citizens and others.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, okay. Thank you. Is that it for you?
That's it.
Okay. So we'll hear now from our Public Works Director, Mike.
Honorable Mayor, council members, first off, congratulations, Willie. Job well done to you and your staff.
Thank you, sir.
You guys run a pretty tight ship down there. I enjoy every time I get a chance to go visit you.
They even have a little boat.
What's that?
They even have a little boat.
I know. I haven't yet to be the captain of that boat yet, but one day maybe. We made it through 4th of July. Public Works We had a couple of little hiccups with the newer staff and stuff, but we had a discussion on Monday, got some things worked out. Hopefully to get things pre-planned a little better for next year to try to help out the police department with traffic control and stuff. We're continuing to do pothole repairs. You know that the chip seals were completed last week thanks to the county and their help. Appreciate it that you guys did a great job. They came in, lickety-split, got her done. We did go ahead and get most of that swept back up. Some of the striping in place, parking stalls established on Pennsylvania and Harris. As Rob stated, Pine Street is taking off on Monday. They're going to start on that, but actually we got an emergency phone call that PSE noticed that one of their gas mains is actually going to be pretty close to exposed. So they're going to be in town this weekend and run up there and actually lower that gas main so that it doesn't get into the project limits. So good thing they caught that. The Kittitas County Connector, which is the bus that Lucy's been letting everybody know about, it is up and running. We're working, Roslyn actually at their council meeting tonight is going to vote on which signs they would like in Roslyn, and then we're going to get the signs ordered on Tuesday of next week. I got a company coming in, we're going to cord rail the sidewalks and get all the bus stop signs installed so that everybody knows where those are located and get that rolling for everyone. Other than that, we had several sewer backups again this month. We're running average on that, at least 2 or 3 a day, getting calls on those. So we're chasing those, trying to get those repaired. And luckily the last 2 weeks we didn't have any water breaks. So we're on the up and up there. That's all I got for this week.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Okay, so then we have our police chief for Glenn. You have a report for us?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So not much has happened big-wise since the last time we were here. So basically the biggest event we've dealt with was 4th of July. The 4th of July itself, the fireworks display, we had a very good turnout at White Park. We had a good turnout at the South Clallam Park and also the Flagpole Park. However, Railroad Street was much emptier than it has been in the past, but obviously that's due to the fireworks ban. We're not getting people setting off their own personal fireworks down there. A lot of compliments on the show. Mike helped us with getting parking barricades out well in advance, so we only had one real parking issue, which is unheard of. So thank you, Mike. And it went off well. The parade, that we were able to get 5 officers from the Kittitas County Sheriff's Office to help with traffic control. So all the major intersections were covered with an actual officer. I got a lot of compliments from them that traffic, even though it was heavy, moved, good flow. You notice there were attracted a big crowd this year. We had a lot of people, and a lot of people stayed for the 3-on-3 tournament, so that was good to see as well. But usually with a lot of people, there's a lot of problems. Didn't happen. Everybody behaved themselves, everybody had a good time. The basketball ended fairly early, still daylight, but they did a fantastic job getting everything cleaned out, opened up and everything. It took nothing on our part to reopen the road, etc. All the barricades and everything removed, went very well. So, and I did get a lot of compliments on the motorcycle group that was in the parade. So I wanted to bring that up. Those guys did fantastic. They were fun. I got to see some of them do that. And finally, Roslyn was busy that night. Clallam wasn't bad at all. Not a large crowd in Clallam. Roslyn, of course, filled up. But again, everybody behaved themselves, so we didn't have any major incidents. So overall, it was a very good weekend.
Well, that's good to hear.
Thank you.
Breath of fresh air. So now we'll hear from our fire chief.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, month of June we had 20 calls. 2 of those were fire, 16 medical, 1 hazardous condition, and 1 good at 10. The 2 fire calls, those were both, one was over at the Eagles and one was, it was at the bank, and they were both one was in a trash can and one was in a planter. So when disposing of burnable cigarette butts, possibly make sure that we put them in appropriate locations and don't start fires. So The fireworks, we actually had no calls again this year, firework related, so that's 2 years in a row that we haven't had an incident. So I really personally think it was a job well done by banning the fireworks. We've had a really good outcome for that with public safety and just we haven't had a fire call yet for 2 years now for firework related. So we got our engines pump tested this last week. So engine 511 passed. We have sent that down to Yakima. It had some wiring issues originally when we bought that. So occasionally it would short out with lighting. So we have had Cascade Fire redo the lighting system on that, and they are currently putting that all together. So we'll be getting that back in about a week or so. The other engine, 521, as we expected, doesn't pass to the higher rating. But he did pump test it and pass it at a lower rating. So I will be working with him. He's rescheduling with me to set up an additional test, and we'll get that engine recertified at a lower rating, which makes it just official through the fire service so that we're following proper protocol. With that being said, it lowers it to 1,250 gallons per minute instead of 1,500. So not a big difference, but to do it properly, we have to recert that. With that being said, this engine is well past its time frame. So at the ratings board, anything after 20 years, you don't acquire any points for. We're right at that realm with our newest engine. So with that being said, with this one not passing the higher rating, I'm going to be looking and searching diligently to replace that engine. So and usually if we have one built, that's a 6-month period at least. If we find a demo, we might be able to slide into that. So currently I'm looking into those options, and we'll be pursuing that. Brush truck, we have an injector problem, so we've got injectors ordered. They should be here tomorrow. I've got that at the city shop. He said he'd be able to throw those in, so we should be up and running. When that gets back, we've got older light bars that take a really heavy load. Those old lights just really eat up the electrical system. So we're going to send it down to Cascade and have the LED lights put in and have them do the whole bar. So as soon as that gets up and running, I will probably send that unit down to pick up the engine and just swap out so that we get both of those done. Yesterday I met with the director of the horse park. We had a nice tour. She was able to show me a lot of areas where they've done a lot of improvement in firewizing, so I was really happy to see that. And they're actively working on making steps to be a lot safer for the public. I really enjoyed that. She's looking into that and working with me. The camera system, I've decided to upgrade the camera system at the station. So we'll be working with our technical city and have that done in the next within the next month probably. So that will be a little bit better relief to the citizens, that they know that their apparatus and gear is protected. Burn ban. So to explain the burn ban, normally in the last 3 years I've gone with the suggestion of the county. This year I decided that he was a little early to jump the gun, and I totally understand why he did. It's a little drier in the lower county. We're still moist up here. In fact, it's raining right now. So I didn't implement the burn ban. It doesn't mean a whole lot for us as citizens in the city. We're not allowed to burn anything except for a recreational fire in a contained pit with dry legal firewood. So, and that does pertain to briquette use. So I was hoping to get through the 4th, and with a little bit of rain, I think we can extend it a little bit further. I don't see any need in putting a burn ban on it this time because we're just eliminating the use of briquettes for cooking a steak and a nice contained fire. So with an extreme, with an extreme fire danger, Forest Service really good at notifying that they shut down the woods. I will be following any extreme fire danger. And I would ask the citizens to self-govern. If it's windy, don't burn. You know, be smart, and we don't have to apply additional rules. So, any questions for me at this time?
Well said.
Quick question, how much is in their apparatus reserve fund right now?
For a truck,
Yeah,
the new truck fund has, hold on a minute. New truck fund, Class A pumper truck fund, I have $84,068 set aside for the new truck.
It's a start.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I have a question. In light of your, you'd mentioned the success with the fireworks ordinance that had been passed. And my question is, in the past, I'm not sure if we'd asked you or if we had asked Dave concerning if we were to revisit allowing fireworks at December 31st / the 1st for the new year. If we were to consider that as a council, do you foresee that specific day only? Do you foresee it causing a great risk to health and safety or an undue hardship on your people or an inordinate risk of fire at that time of year?
At that time of year, no. The main calls that we ever had on the 4th of July were all fire related. We had a few freak small burn incidents, but I don't foresee anything being taxing at that period of time. I think it's a wise decision to look at something when there's a little bit of snow or a lot more moisture around.
Yeah.
So.
Now, the idea is, and I'll just make a public statement, is that, you know, there's a certain tension socially when a liberty is curtailed, and the liberty to set off fireworks is something that historically has been part of our, you know, our geographical area. And so figuring out if it's possible and prudent to allow that outlet, then it doesn't allow that pressure to build within our society. And I think it's a sane time of year. You know, the 31st of December isn't a high fire hazard, and then it allows us to, you know, people to be able to celebrate.
One last thing on that, the fireworks show, we actually had no incidents even with the fire, and they're contained a lot different than legal fireworks that a citizen would shoot off, because they're designed to go real high and dissipate and burn out before they get anywhere near the ground. So, where the one citizens shoot off, they're closer to the ground, and you get a lot more hazard going on. So to put it at a time when we have a lot more moisture would be beneficial to everybody.
Okay, all right, thank you. So now, the star of the program, William LaRue from Veolia.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the council. In regard to that comment, it's a group effort. We've got a good staff assembled there at both facilities, and we take to heart what we're doing and appreciate their efforts on a day-to-day basis. In the council package are the usual graphs that I provide for you folks. Nothing really of startling nature there. Production at the water plant, 50 million. Treatment plant, wastewater plant was 26 million. Operated for 526 hours for the month of June. So as the weather continues to warm up, our operations continue to escalate as well. The wastewater plant, key things going on there, we've taken one reactor basin offline like we normally do every year. We've gone in and cleaned that, and that's physically going in there with bodies and hoses and cleaning all that stuff out. Not a pleasant task, but the guys are eager to jump in there and get it done. As we're going in doing our cleaning and the inspections on things, we have there's an issue impeller is pretty beat up. We're getting quotes on getting repairs for that one, so I'll be coming back to you, I'm sure, in the near future, giving you a heads up on that one. At the water treatment plant, we have an issue going on with our raw water meter from the Yakima source. As our flows have ramped up, it's starting to make more noise. It's squealing, so it's time for that to be rebuilt. Three options that we have is to wait for it to fail, take it apart, send it in, and figure out how much it's going to cost by the parts that we need. The other option we have is what they call a drop-in unit, where we can unbolt the flange, pull the entire internal portions of the meter out, and drop a completely rebuilt unit back in. That's at $3,900 for that one. Or we can go ahead and replace the entire meter. And that's 780 pounds that has to get removed from the pipeline, as well as the line being jacked up in order to get this out, and that's a little over $6,000. My recommendation is that we go with the drop-in unit, completely rebuilt, it's flow tested, we know it's ready to go. We can drop that one in, the unit that we have out, we can then rebuild it at our leisure, and that unit will work in both the Elum source and the Yakima source. We'll have a complete rebuild ready to go should either one of those other meters fail. So that is below the contract requirement of $5,000 to notify you folks, but I wanted you to know up front what was going on, where we are with things. Other than that, things are running fine.
Good plan.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks, Bill.
Be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Everybody's happy.
Thank you.
Everybody's very happy. Turn on the spigot and here comes the water.
Okay, we're at citizen comments on non-agenda items. Is there anyone here who wish to address the council on anything that's on your mind? No? Okay. Move on with that. There's no public appearances. There's no public hearings or unfinished business, so we're down to new business. And the first thing will be the results and contract award of the SR 903 utility extension. And Roy Lewis from HLA will walk us through that.
Okay, yesterday at 10 o'clock, we sat right there and opened up 9 bids. We had 9 contracts. A visual of the results show that most of them were right in line. These last 2 are a little bit outliers. And fortunately, HLA's estimate was right in the middle, so we finally feel good about that.
Did you guys want to see this?
Yeah.
Sure, that's enough.
Yeah, pass it out. Oh, this, he has the graph.
Oh, they don't want there?
The graph.
Yeah, the graph is new.
The graph is,
I haven't seen that.
yeah, the graph I just did this morning, just for my benefit, to see how we do. So describing the project, we kind of cobbled together 5 items that needed to be completed to satisfy the future public works road maintenance shop and to provide water service to the transfer station, which is working off of a well that's apparently trying to choke out on them. So there's 5 schedules to the work. There's some downstream sewer up on Miller Avenue that we're improving so that we got additional capacity for West Plains, whatever the subdivision is.
Clallam Pines West.
Clallam Pines West, thank you. And for the additional public works facility and whoever else may expand in that area of town. Schedule B is the sewer extension required. This goes up parallel to SR 903 up along the frontage of the transfer station and up number 5 Mine Road to serve the future public works site. Schedule C is the water extension that has to cross 903, which crossed last summer. We did a case, we provided the case, and we have to put the pipe in it now. So we got that done before WashDOT overlaid the road, so that was done and complete. We'll pick up there, we'll go up the road to serve transfer station and the future public works site. And then we'll drop down to Schedule D. It's a Zone 3 to Zone 2 pressure reducing valve station. So transfer station and the public works site need to be off of Zone 3, which is a higher pressure zone. And Cleon Pines West is currently off of Zone 2. Both would benefit if the two zones are interconnected. If the public works station sucks down too much water to where it goes below pressure, it will start drawing water from Zone 2. If Zone 2 gets too low, it'll bring water in from Zone 3. So both zones benefit, and 99.9% of the time, it won't be interacted. It's just in emergency situations when one flow or the other is suffering. So that pressure reducing valve station is included. And then Schedule E is the water connection to the transfer station. They have their own water system on it, have irrigation, they have a bunch of stuff on there. We don't know how that exists, but we wanted to give them water, so we've got a backflow preventer and a master meter that can handle fire flow. So they are isolated from the city, but they're receiving water from the city. Anything from them can't get back into the city. It's a little bit expensive, but it was cheaper than putting meters on every hookup they had on the site. So back to the bidders, we had 9 bidders, and they are all pretty good. DJV Construction came in as the low bidder. Granite Construction Company and Advantage Dirt Contractors were right on their tail. And following that was our estimate. So it was pretty good. I believe the finished bid, or the bid what we recommend being awarded, is about 11% under our estimate. So I provided Kathy with a formal recommendation that we accept DJV Construction as the contractor for all 5 schedules. So I'm not sure procedurally how we can look at here.
Right.
Well, that one, there is a task order that we have before us, and that's B, I believe.
The task order's B, but A does need, we need the council's, to make a motion that we will
Accept the recommendation.
accept the recommendation and offer the contract to DJV Construction. Do we have a form, something to sign?
I move that we accept the recommendation and follow the verbiage that Rob just used.
You should just say so moved.
So moved.
That makes things a lot simpler. Kathy, were you able to comprehend all that? Okay, good. That's the important part. Okay, it's moved. Is there a second?
Oh, yeah, Mickey second.
Okay.
Vicky already said.
So that, what's the difference between that one and task order B? That's my question.
Task order B would cover our services for construction management. Inspection,
Okay.
surveying.
Yes, okay, good. They look the same to me, and I was wondering what
Well,
they
they have
were.
the same name in it, but.
Okay, any other questions on that motion? If not, all in favor with aye?
Aye.
Okay. Now we'll go down to task order to B, which is the task order 2019-01.
And that task order covers our services as described on page 2.
Yes.
Services A through S, which are very typical for the construction phase. And it's assembling the construction contracts and documents, providing an inspector, the qualified resident engineer on site as needed, providing survey control for construction, interpreting the plans and specifications when needed, preparing daily progress reports, weekly statements of working days, and on down to item S. Again, this is our standard form. It helps the city by having our services out there. And I guess we're supposed to ask if this can be accepted or decided.
Right, would recommend, the
Authorize
council
the mayor to sign
authorize them.
this.
And keep in mind, council, that all of this is paid for, we've had an agreement with the Kittitas County, and it's all
Yeah.
paid.
And
Okay.
Mr. Cook isn't squirming too bad. Actually, we saved him some money. Okay. Okay, was there any other anyone would like to make a motion to adopt task order 2019-01 for the engineering services?
So moved.
I make a motion we adopt 2019-01 for the engineering services.
So is there a second? Maybe you want to try it.
Sure, I'll do a second.
Okay, a second. All right. Moved and seconded to, they were mumbling amongst each other.
Oh,
It's all right. To authorize the mayor to sign task order number 2019-01. Questions? Not, all in favor with aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that one passes. Actually, I'm supposed to ask you anybody against it? No, it seems like you're supposed to do that.
All opposed.
All right. Yes, I should, actually, I'm sorry about that. I should ask any opposed, even though it was unanimous, to be proper. So now we're at amendment number 1, and this is what, 100% PWB pre-construction loan. So what do we got here?
So Ben spent 5 minutes with me trying to explain this. I will try to regurgitate what he shared with me.
Okay.
Apparently the FHA funding came through now. So now that the funding's come through, it's just a matter of housekeeping to redistribute the funds for this portion of work for the First Street improvements, Phase 3 downtown revitalization. And the funding you get from the PWB was $505,653. The local contribution, your contribution, is $199,347, which is the percentages that they require. That's already in your budget, so this is just a, per Ben, it's a house cleaning, housekeeping item. It took a year for the FHA funding to get approved and go through its series of actions, so that's done and it's ready for this addendum to adjust the contract.
Yes, and this is what we use to design. You can hardly get design money. You have to come up with that yourself. And so we finally have, it rings a bell now.
So that's why it says, excuse me, that's why it says 28-02 for the task order number. Last year's
Right,
task.
it was last year's task
Okay.
order.
All right.
Well, and we're in this business finally, because we've got planning now.
Yes, right.
And so the agencies deem us qualified to receive it. And so it's like,
Yeah.
yes, we're here. So I make a motion that, well, I guess we authorize the mayor to sign
Yep.
task order number 2018-02, addendum number 1, with HLA Engineering and Surveying, Inc.
Okay. Is there a second for that motion? Okay, moved and seconded to authorize the mayor to sign task order number 2018-02. Okay, so any questions on that motion? I won't even begin to try to repeat what everybody just said. If not, if there's no questions, all in favor with aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None? So that is passed also. We're kind of going through this. Did you want to say anything to us?
No?
No? All right. No, I'm talking to Mr. Cook. Yeah, I'm talking
You're right in line.
You're right. They look up there. I'm making the audience nervous tonight.
He's here for any questions, but,
Okay. So let's see. Now here we have HLA local agency A&E professional service lump sum consultant agreement. Local agency. And there's that big fat thing.
Yeah. And I would like to start with the comments.
Okay.
That especially the first 13 pages were so much easier to read than most of these agreements that are in a courier type of font and much like Exhibit D in their entirety. So the mass of it was a lot easier to digest because of the typography, the type font, the font. Thank you.
So maybe,
I hate small font, thank you.
I think that's the standard format.
Yeah, well, parts of it deviated, but most of it stayed big like that.
so do you want to, you'll give us some idea about this. You're tongue-tied tonight.
Well, yes, it's not my project. I'm kind of pinch-hitting for Ben, but Exhibit A is once you get past the big letters and get to the small letters.
Yeah.
Small stuff.
That's a pretty full description of the Phase 3 design effort for the downtown revitalization.
Yes, okay.
And that's the meat of what is being asked for, is to get us going on the Phase 3 design.
So now that we have the funding, this is the agreement to
To spend the money.
just spend the money.
This is how the money will be spent.
Well, Ben told me C&D.
Now, where is Ben tonight anyway?
He said he had a conflicting
Yeah, that's all right.
engagement.
That's all right.
I didn't press
I
him.
just giving it back.
Yeah, he spent most of the day with the door closed on telephone conversations today. He's been very, very busy, so
Sure.
Working on our stuff too.
mostly Elum stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a curiosity more than, I'm not questioning the validity of the report. But under the agency software suite, it said Microsoft products. Are there no other design softwares or anything else that you use to manipulate the DWG drawings or?
Oh, yeah, there's, AutoCAD is not Microsoft.
Yeah, so I imagine that, so that's only the public facing stuff. Right, but under agency software suite, I guess.
What page is that?
On page 404 of the exhibit C, I was just wondering what's the difference between, like, I guess I wasn't sure why we even have that A there.
Oh, that is interesting.
Why we have the Exhibit B part in there.
Yeah, not a big deal, and I certainly support it in its entirety.
Well, we'll find out for you, okay?
Well, the survey design and CAD is all AutoCAD, which is standard. Which is Exhibit C, page 1. And that's the meat of their work.
Yeah, better.
I wasn't sure what agency, that term agency software meant. Like is agency how you, like the internal management of your businesses, or I wasn't sure what that, it just kind of odd, it struck me that it didn't have really anything to do with anything, but that's
And
fine.
to be honest with you, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Because we do, in C, like file transfer, PDFs is Adobe, the DWG is AutoCAD, the Doc and XLS, it's Microsoft Word and Excel.
It's fine.
It's a government form.
Right, right. A lot of paperwork.
Well, I think if there's no
Further discussion.
further discussion, I'd certainly like to approve our motion that we approve the consultant agreement before us in its entirety.
Second.
Authorize the mayor to sign.
It's moved and seconded to approve the signing of the local agency A&E Professional Services. The agreement number is 18189E.
Correct.
Are there any questions on that motion? If not, all in favor with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Okay.
Sign on page 13.
One comment?
Sign on page 13.
I
Sign.
just wanted to thank you all for helping me walk through this.
Well, we certainly appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
You can give Ben a hard time for us.
Yeah.
Tell him we made you sweat something terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're at E, and this, I think John Galante is going to take, and this is Mary Ridge Children's Courage Ride. And it's a request to amend variance to camp at Centennial Park. John Galante, you want to take that for us?
Okay, Mary Bridge Children's Courage Ride is scheduled for August 24th and 25th. And this event's already been through the event committee. We've already approved everything, which includes event participants spending the night on the 23rd. We have a request from the event organizer, Anna Miller. It says we have a Boy Scout troop that will be volunteering and helping us keep the park clean, etc. Would they be able to camp on Saturday evening? So that's one thing, part of this event that we have not covered in the previous permission. So in our code, camping within city limits, no person, firm, or corporation shall erect, establish, or maintain within the corporate limits of the city any camp, shack, or other place of temporary abode except by permission of the city council, granted on a case-by-case basis. So what we're doing is asking the council for permission for the Boy Scouts to camp Saturday night.
I make a motion that we give them permission to camp Saturday night.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to turn the Boy Scouts loose on Centennial Park.
There to clean things and
I
do
know.
things,
It's a public
perfect.
service.
Absolutely.
And it's actually kind of fun for them actually to do that.
I'm sure they earned some badges by doing it.
You bet, you bet. So any questions on that motion? If not, all in favor with aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's passed. Okay.
One thing I'll mention, just because you're sitting as the chair of the events committee, that was brought to my attention from a concerned citizen is historically, like way back when, the parade followed a route where it went, I don't know how my direction's messed up, but where it went from this end of town.
West to east.
Correct, west to east. And I understand there might be traffic concerns, et cetera. The actual people in the parade on feet holding flags, basically wind sails. We might consider recommending to the committee for public safety that they go with the historical way. I think we've seen.
With the wind instead of against it?
Yeah, with the wind versus.
All I can say is this is an ongoing discussion between the parade organizers and the event committee, and
You just tell them, don't make us make an ordinance.
but yeah, I just want to let you know that your concerns
Yes, they understand.
have arisen in meetings, so.
And you have to realize back in the day, they queued up on Second and came down
Right.
around, and went the other way. And that's, so a lot of things are
Sure.
different that way. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it can certainly be considered.
I know it's not that simple, but it's certainly
sure.
something we want to keep open for
Yes.
discussion.
You bet. Okay, so is there any committee reports? I don't know, we could delay this a little longer, it's not quite an hour, So is there a motion to adjourn?
I make the motion we adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Wow. Yeah. Well, see there, we took care of business for you.
Thank you all.
Yeah.